Hello everyone, and welcome finally to another episode of the Beer Chronicles. In today's episode we are going to be trying Bishop's Finger from Shepherd's Neame, a Kentish strong ale at 5.4% ABV. Described on the back as a classic Kentish strong ale, Bishop's Finger takes its name from the name of an ancient signpost on the Pilgrim's Way, pointing pilgrims to the shrine of Thomas A. Becket at Canterbury Cathedral. One of the oldest names in British beer, this classic British ale is brewed with chalk-filtered mineral water drawn from deep beneath the brewery and Shepherd Neame's signature Kentish hops. Its authenticity is assured by both its UK-protected geographic origin and EU-protected geographical indication status. Apparently it should be chestnut brown in sight. It should have an aroma of roast, toffee and berries and should taste rich, fruity and bitter. Let's find out if that is true. Well, I can confirm that it is brown. I can definitely smell the toffee. Not sure about the berries. Maybe in the background. I think you get the toffee nose up front and then the sort of the berry in the background gives a hint of floriness and fruitiness to the background of the aroma. It's kind of weird. Toffee and berry kind of blends to smell like coffee, strangely enough. It's got like a fruity coffee kind of smell. But if I'm trying to single out toffee, then it's actually very apparent. So yeah, based on the smell alone, I have no doubt that this will be rich, fruity and bitter. Rich, yes. Bitter, definitely on the aftertaste. Not sure about fruity again. The fruit's the bit that doesn't really stand out. I think it's there, but again, the fruit aspect of it is subtle. Yeah, this is actually the first time I've ever tried Bishop's Finger. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. It's like I said, it's rich and bitter mainly. Subtly fruity, but not very potent with the fruit. But if you like rich, dark flavours and you're not opposed to bitter aftertaste, then yeah, this is quite a nice one. I can recommend it. I'll gladly get through a whole video with it. So, I recently took to the internet. I posted online on my social medias to all my friends and associates, basically telling them that I'd set up a Tellonym account. Now, for anyone who's not aware, Tellonym is a website where you set up an account and people can send you questions for you to answer. And the one little twist to this is that the questions are sent anonymously, so you have no idea who sends you the questions. You just get anonymous questions that you can then answer. I've been aware that this website exists for a while. Never really thought to bother with it, so it didn't really interest me. If anyone wants to know anything about me, you can just ask and I will tell. I'm pretty open, but I thought a lot of people don't like asking questions directly. They're a lot more open to ask the things they want to ask if they can do it without being recognised as the person asking the questions. So I thought that I would set up a Tellonym account and allow people to ask me questions anonymously on there for the sole purpose of answering them in a video, and that's this video that you're watching now. So I sent out the post with the link to my Tellonym account telling people that they could ask me anything they wanted and I would answer all that I possibly could. I did point out that I was going to avoid questions that were obviously just troll questions, and anything that I thought would be inappropriate for the YouTube platform. But again, that's at my discretion. What I find inappropriate is very different to what other people might find inappropriate. But I have looked through the questions beforehand. I've not given myself any time to think up answers. I'm going to try and think them up on the fly. But I did just check the kind of questions that were coming through. And surprisingly, there's not really many questions on there that I think I'm going to have to omit. For the most part, maybe all of them, can't really remember. Yeah, they tend to be questions I can actually answer on here, which is surprising because even though I specified that troll questions and the like would not make it into the video and would not ever be answered, so there was no point, I still expected some people to try. Now don't get me wrong, there are a few stupid questions on there and we will get to those, but nothing that I feel has gone so far as to warrant me to just ignore the question entirely. I think for the most part they will all get answered. But if it does turn out that I don't answer your question in this video, then that is because your question is bad and you should feel bad. Anyway, I am going to take another sip. And then we can get started. Now, when I first set up my Tellonym account, a couple of minutes after I set it up, I got a couple of questions come through almost immediately. And this was before I'd advertised myself to anyone that I knew. So there was no way anyone could have known that I'd just set this up. So I have no idea whether these are questions from real people or whether when you set up a Tellonym account there might be some default questions that they start you off with to sort of get the ball rolling. So for all I know, the first couple of these might not have actually been sent by real people, but on the off chance that they were, I will answer them anyway. First question, what did you do last weekend? Now, on the day that I'm recording this, I don't know what day it's going to come out, but on the day that I'm recording this, the weekend has just finished. I'm actually recording this on a Monday, so very easy for me to remember what I did. Not a lot. On the Friday night, I went out to the local pub with my friends, had some beers, played a few games of pool. I enjoy playing pool. And that was my night. Had a really good time, normally do. And then the Saturday, I was just at home, relaxing all day, as is my wont on a Saturday. And then on Sunday, I was at work, because I work on Sundays. So Sunday isn't really a weekend day for me, but that's what I was doing. I was at work in the morning, and then I got back home and had a bit of a sleep, because I work really early in the morning and don't get a lot of sleep on the night. And then, what did I do after that? Come on, Brad, it was yesterday. I think I played a bit of Lego Star Wars at one point, and I watched a few episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is an absolutely phenomenal series. Second question, how are you? As far as I'm aware, there's nothing medically wrong with me. I am still alive, so that's a good sign. As far as emotionally, I am a wreck. I'm fine, absolutely fine. Thank you very much for asking. Now, things are alright. I'm not currently overjoyed or anything, but, yeah, I'm okay. Living through life one day at a time. As much as I don't like to get political, and I don't want to talk too much about things that might age the video, this stuff with Russia's a bit concerning, isn't it? Wonder where that's going to lead. But no, I'm doing fine. I'm mostly tired these days, and that's mainly due to the times that I work. Like I said earlier, I work really early in the morning, so I don't get a lot of sleep on the night, and it's difficult to sleep in the day. So, exhausted is the answer to the question. How are you? I am exhausted. Have you got a partner right now? No, I do not have a partner right now. I'm very much available. Not that that's really going to excite anyone who watches the video, but I am a single man. A single, straight man. My preference is females, just in case anyone wants to get in touch. When's your birthday? My birthday is on October the 9th. What year? Every year. I couldn't resist that. It was an obvious joke, but I had to do it. Any siblings? Yes, too many. I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. I used to have 3 brothers. Sadly, one of them is no longer with us. Although technically I only really have 1 sister, and then the 3 brothers and 2 other sisters are all half brothers and sisters, because we only share 1 parent, and the parent that each of us share is variable. Obviously my full sister, both of our parents are the same, that's how that works. And then on my mother's side, I have 2 half brothers and a half sister. And on my father's side, I have a half-sister and had a half-brother. That is the one who is sadly no longer with us. What do you hate that people do on a first date? I've got to be honest with you, I don't do the dating thing a lot. I live life, I make friends, and then sometimes I get a little bit close to a female friend and things develop further. I never really go out on the pull and find someone I think is attractive and ask them on a date. I haven't done that many times before, only once or twice. So I don't have a lot of experience of actual dating. It's not the sort of thing I really do. I'm trying to think of something that I wouldn't want them to do if I took someone out on a first date. What would be a bad thing? Because like I said, I've only been out on one or two and they were fine, so I don't have much bad experiences. I guess if they tried to kill me, that would be a pretty negative aspect. Bringing someone else along would probably not be a good move. I don't know whether that happens often, but that would probably be one of the worst things you could do on any date, first or otherwise. If you're on a date, it's supposed to be between you and your partner. You don't bring people along. Has anyone else had that experience? Because I imagine that'd be pretty shitty. And obviously, when you go out on a date, the whole point of a date is to find out about the other person and see whether they're a match for you. If they make it clear that what they are looking for from you is purely financial, then that would probably be a negative to me. If they obviously are trying to find out how much money I have and whether I am worth dating in that aspect, then that would be a bit of a turn off. I'd want to be with a woman who likes me for my personality, maybe for my looks. I don't know why they would, but if they did, then that would be very nice. But yeah, asking you nothing but questions that lead to basically trying to find out how much money you earn or have saved. Obviously, if I was to take a woman out, I would probably offer to pay. But if they made it clear that it was always their intent for you to pay and never had any plans to spend anything themselves, then that would also be a turn-off. Like I say, I would be willing to pay, but I don't want them to be the kind who would constantly be expecting that from their partner. Does that make sense? Am I getting that across right? I don't want to come across as someone who doesn't want to pay. How would you describe your own personality? That's a difficult one to answer. A good blend of maturity and immaturity. I'd say I'm wise and mature when I need to be, and all other times I am immature because it's entertaining, and to me that is a good way to be. I'm sort of open as well, I suppose, to anyone who wants to know about me. I don't go around talking about myself. I'm actually very, very quiet and secluded in that regard. But if someone starts to ask me about myself, then I will gladly tell them I don't have anything to hide. I'm quite introverted in public, but very outspoken with my friends. And if I am having a conversation with someone, fucking boiler started in the middle of a video. If I'm having a conversation with someone, then as long as they are, being kind and respectful to me, it doesn't take much for them to be able to become my friend, really. And so once I get talking to someone, I can be very open. But I don't tend to just deliver all information about myself. I tell them what they want to know. So they ask me about myself and I will tell them. Which I suppose, sites like Tellonym are good for, really. Ask me the things that you want to know and I will answer for you. I do think I am smarter than average, and that can be a fault at times, because when it comes to, say, debates or arguments, If I think that I know something to be true, I will be very adamant in that and try to override whoever I'm, debating with on the subject. And they could be right, but I tend to always assume that I am right. Don't get me wrong, once I see that I am wrong, I will be the first to admit it. But without evidence of me being wrong, I am very quick to assume that I am right. That can make me come across as arrogant, and I am aware of that. So I think that can be a negative side to my personality. I'd say overall I'm very laid back and easygoing. I get on very well with people. I don't make a lot of enemies. I avoid conflicts when possible. That's really the most I can think of about my own personality off the top of my head. Hopefully that was enough for you, whoever sent that question. Hopefully that answered that one sufficiently, because I think that question definitely has the potential to be answered a lot more in depth, and it would take a lot of planning to come up with a more in-depth answer. But hopefully for this kind of video, that was sufficient. Opinion on driving fast. Don't. Honestly, you see things about it all the time in newspapers or on the internet. It's been happening a lot lately, particularly around by the area that I live in, where cars have been speeding at night, and they've had people in the back, and they've crashed, and the driver and their passengers have gone into hospital with injuries. Sometimes they've died, and you just think, it's stupid enough doing it when you're in the car, but don't do it when other people are in there. You shouldn't even do it when it's just you, because there are other people on the road. I really think that people who break the speed limit are fucking morons. I really do. They think that their skill is so high that they can keep driving as fast as they want and they won't get into an accident. It happens to other people, but they're a better driver, so they will be fine. I'm pretty sure most of the other people who crashed also thought that. Keep driving like an idiot and eventually you will get yourself in an accident and it will be your fault. It won't even matter who or what you crash into. If the conditions were terrible, if they came out of nowhere, if you're breaking the speed limit and you crash, it's your fucking fault. I'm currently learning to drive at the moment, and I've been taught that you want to reach the speed limit when possible, because it can be just as dangerous going really slow, but you never want to break it. So that's the kind of philosophy I always try to go by. So don't be a slow driver. Drive the highest appropriate speed for the road that you're on. And anyone who drives faster than that, as I've said, is a fucking moron. And every single person who has been in an accident because they were speeding, it's their own fucking fault, and they deserve whatever injuries they got. I'm not going to go as far as to say that I'm happy that the people who died, because that's what, no one deserves to die. But it's still their fault, and I'm not going to mourn them. I do feel bad for other people involved, people who are passengers in their cars, other road users, pedestrians. So many other people involved, injured or dead, because one person thought it'd be a bit thrilling to put their foot a bit further down on the pedal. Fucking morons. Why did you cry in front of someone last? This is getting personal. I'm trying to remember, because I do have a moment in mind, and I'm trying to remember whether or not that was the last time or whether it happened since and I've just forgot about it. I think that may have been the last time. I will admit this. The last relationship I was in took a while for me to get into that relationship, because I had developed feelings for this girl, and at first she didn't reciprocate. She just wanted to be friends, and so we carried on being friends for a while, but the feelings that I had for her wouldn't go away. And after a while I came to realise how I was in love with her at the time, and I couldn't let it go, so I kept asking her out, and eventually we did get together. That was the last relationship I was in. No longer in that relationship. but it was good while it lasted. But in that period of time before we were going out, when I would ask her and she would say no, there was one point where I couldn't accept that we couldn't be together, and I broke down in front of her. And I believe that was the last time. I don't even remember crying when we eventually broke up. So, yeah, it's kind of unusual, isn't it? Are you still partial to a good old sloppy Joe? This one's going to take some explaining. Some of you aren't going to have any idea what the fuck's going on, and then other people are going to think that they do, but you don't. Basically, for anyone aware of American culture, or anyone who might be American who watches this, I don't know. I doubt it, but who knows. But yeah, anyone in those categories will know that a sloppy Joe is... it's like a burger of pulled meat in a tomatoey sauce, but there is a lot of sauce, so it all just spills out of the buns and just goes everywhere, and it's called a sloppy Joe. This is not what this question is referring to. I actually know exactly who asked me this question. But yeah, when I was younger, in my teenage years, whenever I went to the local fish and chip shop, I would always get the same thing. I would get a burger and chips. It came as a meal, burger and chip meal. And basically on the burger, I would have barbecue sauce and mint sauce, because they're nice together on a burger. Still enjoy that combination now. But yeah, I would just get them to load this thing with sauce. There was a lot of sauce on the burger, so much so that as I ate it, it would drip out of the sides over my chips. There was a lot of sauce on this burger. I really loved it to be saucy, particularly the barbecue sauce. I love barbecue sauce, and the more the better. But yeah, because there was so much sauce on this burger that it'd drip off, I would affectionately refer to it as a sloppy Joe, and it's just sort of a nickname for that meal that I had when I was younger. It's stupid talking about it now, but that's what that question is referring to. I have to say, I haven't had one in a very long time. The person who asked this question, the last time I had one was probably with you. Since then, I moved on from burgers from the chip shop. I now tend to get kebabs. And when I do have burgers from anywhere else, or if I make them at home, I have sauce on them, sure, but I don't tend to go as over the top nowadays. I have enough that it can be contained in the burger. But if I was to have one again, I'm sure I would still enjoy it. Can anything be done if someone is too shy to talk to you? Do you mean from your perspective, if someone is too shy to talk to you, is there anything you can do? Or do you mean if you are the shy one? I don't know why I'm asking you this, because you cannot answer me in the middle of recording. By the time you hear me ask that question, the video will already be up, and I'll already have to give him my full answer. So let's see what I can do with this. Also, I need to know if you mean, can something be done to stop them from being shy, or do you mean, can something still occur between the two parties involved if the one is continuing to be shy? So many angles to come at this question from. First off, I don't personally believe in things like fate and destiny. I don't believe in a higher power, and so as such, I don't believe in things like a destined soulmate or anything like that. I believe attractions form, and sometimes you can become attracted to someone who is not attracted to you, or vice versa. And sometimes somebody isn't attracted to somebody else initially, but after extended periods of time being in communication with this person, some feelings can develop. What I mean by all this is, don't assume that just because you're into someone that they will start to get those feelings for you, even if you don't talk to them. If they don't already have these feelings for you, they're probably not gonna just develop unprovoked. So if they're not already trying to talk to you, then you are going to have to overcome your shyness, which can be difficult. I understand that. I completely understand that. But you can't sit around hoping that something's going to happen, because if you don't do anything, it's not going to happen. I'm no professional on the subject. I can't give you advice on how to overcome the shyness. I'm sure there are many things that can be done. Perhaps some kind of mental exercises, some kind of calming medication, perhaps therapy, who knows? Have a look into it if you think it's genuinely becoming a problem for you. Perhaps if you just tell yourself that nothing's going to happen if you don't do anything and psych yourself into it, maybe that might work, I don't know. But you are going to have to attempt to overcome that shyness. Maybe even just doing it bit by bit. Start by saying hello, every now and then. Have little communications with them. Just a typical, hi, how are you doing? And eventually you may feel more comfortable around them to expand the conversation further. Perhaps begin asking them the sorts of things that they're into, and you might find connections there. If they're into something you're into, that gives you something that you can talk about. You are going to have to start to have these conversations with them in order for anything to get any further. It's not going to happen if you don't talk to them at all. If, however, you're on the other side of this, if you think someone is too shy to talk to you, talk to them. That should be obvious. If you're into them, make the first move. I don't know what kind of situation this is, whether it's man, woman, man, woman, woman. Either way is exactly the same. But typically, with your stereotypical male and female relationships, people do sort of have this idea that men are supposed to make the first move. This might not be accurate from the point of view of the person who asked the question, but if it is a male-female situation where the male is too shy to talk to the female, it's perfectly fine for the female to make the first move. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So if you're into someone and you think that they might be into you, but you suspect that they are too shy to say anything, talk to them. I think that's really about as much insight as I can give on it. The main thing to take from all that is relationships build over time. People don't just lock eyes and then fall in love. Life is not a fairy tale. If there's somebody that you have developed feelings for, then you're going to have to start talking to them if you want to move your relationship with them any further. And you also have to be prepared for the possibility that you could put in effort trying to move this relationship further and they might still not end up feeling the same way. And that is something that you have to be ready for, because no matter how much effort you put in, nobody owes you intimacy. So, yeah, you need to talk, you need to communicate in order for there to be any possibility of moving your relationship further. But it's never a certainty that it's going to happen. But it is the first step. How can I tell a girl I love her? Smear it in shit on the side of a car? Shave it into her dog? Get a tattoo of it somewhere on your body and then cut that piece of skin off and post it to her? Or perhaps you could just, have a conversation with her and tell her, hey, I love you. Obviously, there are different approaches to take, different situations, different venues, different ways to set the mood. I'm not an expert on any of this. You've come to the wrong place if you're looking for advice on how to woo. As I said before, with my last relationship, I basically had to annoy her into going out with me. But yeah, at its most basic, no matter how you tell her, you are going to have to build up the courage and tell her. I do recommend a gentler approach, maybe something more along the lines of, hey, listen, we've known each other for a while now, and I've got to be honest with you. I have developed feelings for you over time, and I think that I may actually be falling in love with you, as opposed to shouting at her in German. I don't know why that came to mind. I was just going to say as opposed to shouting to her, and then for some reason I just thought it'd be so much funnier if it was in German. Oh man, German is an aggressive language. Something as heartfelt and romantic as I love you just becomes so much more aggressive in German. Ich liebe dich. But yeah, just psych yourself up, work up the courage, tell her. If you don't tell her, nothing's going to happen. If you do tell her, then either she'll reciprocate and you'll be in a relationship and all will be grand, or she won't reciprocate and nothing's going to happen. Both could end up with nothing happening, but if you tell her, then at least there's a chance. Partner won't let me meet his friends. What should I do? Talk to him. Ask him why he doesn't want you to meet his friends. Don't start making accusations, just have a conversation and try to find out what the problem is. It may be that he's embarrassed about you, in which case you should probably leave him. It may be that he's worried that if you meet his friends that you might find one of them more suitable than himself. Who knows? Or it may be that he has really dodgy friends that you shouldn't know about. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. But you shouldn't have to try anything backhanded, any kind of like espionage or anything to find out what the hell's going on. You should be able to have a conversation with your partner. If you can't even have a conversation with them, it's probably not the best relationship and might be worth considering whether or not you should be staying in that relationship. Any relationship, intimate or otherwise, it comes down to communication, and if you don't have good communication, it's probably not the best relationship. And having a good relationship is even more key when it's an intimate relationship. So you need good communication. Talk to them, find out what the problem is, base your next steps on the response, and if they don't want to give a response, if they won't have that talk with you, if they won't have that communication, you might have to consider that it's not necessarily the best relationship for you. Again, I don't necessarily consider myself the person to come to for advice in these matters, and I don't want to think that I may have broke people up just by making this video, but I do believe that everything I just said is correct. So that would be my advice. Talk to them. What do you think about people who spend a lot of money on clothes? If they're spending their own money, then it is their right to spend as much as they want on whatever clothes they want. If they feel comfortable spending that much money on an item of clothing that they want to wear, go for it. Me personally, I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. I don't care for things like brands or stuff where really a lot of the times people wear them because they cost a lot of money, and it's sort of a status symbol. You see someone walking around with a particular brand and you think, ooh, they spent a lot on that. I'm not all about that. I'm not about showing off what I've spent on things. I tend to just wear things that I like the design of, which, you know, you don't always have to have spent a lot of money on to get that. For example, this t-shirt I'm wearing now is the Balrog from Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, on the bridge with Gandalf. Absolutely love this design. Don't remember the exact price, but it was not very expensive. I don't personally wear clothes because they're expensive. I don't seek expensive clothing. Most of the time, if an item of clothing is something that I actually really like, but it's expensive, I will decide not to buy it because it's expensive. But anybody else who spends a lot of money on clothes, it's fine. It's their right to do so, and I have no real strong emotion one way or the other. Let them get on with it, I say. It's their money and their property. What made you start doing YouTube videos? That's a really good question. Basically, it's a creative outlet. Originally, I studied in college and university how to, make movies, because I decided that was sort of where I wanted to go in life. I wanted to make films, and then I had to get an actual job because I needed income. Started doing normal manual work, and other things in life happen, and you don't really have time to set things up the way that you wanted to, and you just go deeper down the rabbit hole. At this point in my life, I pretty much know that I'm not really going to make a career out of filmmaking. But originally I set up the channel because I wanted Polarity Products to be a media company where I make films and such. And the YouTube channel was a place where I could put things that I made just to get it out there, distribute it, to make a name for myself, show people, hey, this is the kind of thing that I'm doing. And then maybe develop further from there so that I could start actually making a business out of it. Things didn't really go that way, but I still like making videos. I still want to keep making videos. And what's the point in making a load of videos and then just keeping them for myself? I might as well put them somewhere, and this channel exists, so I continue to make videos for the YouTube channel. Basically because I have fun making them. I enjoy doing this. It is something that I really enjoy doing, and YouTube is a place where I can just distribute it, which I might as well do. So as much as it would be nice to get, a lot of views and subscribers and all that stuff, by the way, like and subscribe. Yeah, as much as I would enjoy all of that, if I don't get many views on a video, it doesn't bother me that much. I really don't mind how successful or unsuccessful I am. I just make these videos for the love of making them more than anything else. And YouTube at this point in time is an excuse to make these videos. That is what it has become. Thank you very much for that question, whoever sent that, because I do think that was a very good question. If you could have your dream job, what would it be? Other than YouTube, if that is the case. I don't think having YouTube as a job would necessarily be my dream. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I can monetize YouTube, it'd be alright, wouldn't it? But originally the dream was to actually go into film production. YouTube was just a starting point to start getting things out there. Then I wanted to develop further into things like, independent movies, be them short or feature length. That was the dream. YouTube, not necessarily. YouTube's just a smaller part of that. But the dream was to make films. That was the dream. I think right now it would still be a dream of mine to make a film. I think if I made a film that was released, I would be very, very proud of myself for that. What are the top 5 female celebrities you would want to have sexual relations with? Or males, if you swing that way. I respect the acknowledgement that there are other kinds of relationship other than hetero. Although, for me personally, it would be female. But yeah, I probably should have planned this one beforehand. Now I've got to try and come up with 5 female celebrities off the top of my head. God damn it, this is difficult. I have to say, like most straight men, I'd love to have a go on Scarlett Johansson. Gal Gadot is also very attractive, and when you see her sort of getting intimate with her partner in Death on the Nile, that really did things for me. I've always thought that Mila Kunis was very attractive, if not for the fact that her voice just reminds me of Meg whenever I hear it. But yeah, she's a very attractive woman. I'd probably say her. Emma Stone is fucking gorgeous as well, so yeah, I'll say her. And Margot Robbie. Yeah, she's hot. I mean, obviously, there's a plethora, but right now, off the top of my head, I am comfortable putting those in the top 5. And if any of you are watching and are interested, then get in touch. If you had the power to wish any video game into existence, what would it be? Can be a sequel or spin-off to an existing franchise, or you can just make an ideal game up with aspects you think would make the perfect game for you. I think trying to construct a new game idea out of existing ideas to form my own perfect one is going to take time, and is also a bit of a cop-out, because you just make everything too perfect then. So I'm going to try and think of an existing game franchise that I would like to exist. Probably Pokemon. Who doesn't want to be a Pokemon master, really? Or at the very least, have some kind of Pokemon as a pet. I'd have an Arcanine. Would you rather have sex with an attractive lady one more time and no more for the rest of your life, or go gay and have access to a man's anus whenever you want it, no questions asked, for the rest of your life? I mean, obviously, I would personally prefer the female, but unlimited access. I mean, obviously I don't like the idea of it, but once you've done it so many times, you'd get used to it, wouldn't you, really? And then any time that you need that kind of release, it's just there. It's there. Take it. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not even joking at this point. I think if I could only have sex once with a woman, or if I could do it continuously with a man's anus, I'm still going to go with the woman, but it's closer than you'd think. Because if you actually take the question seriously and stop and truly think about it, the frequency is a factor. Oh, I've just realised there is another twist to the question. It did say, would you rather have sex with an attractive lady one more time and no more for the rest of your life? So that means I can still have sex with unattractive ladies. So yeah, I'm going lady. I found a loophole. If you could do one thing for free right now, what would it be? This can be literally anything you want to do or experience. So many possibilities. I'm trying to think big. I mean, if it's free and it can be literally anything I want, then I would inject my body with immortality. But I assume it has to be within the realms of possibility. So, I mean, realistically, it would probably be to have sex with one of the 5 female celebrities from the question earlier. But I suppose it'd also be cool to, like, have tea and biscuits in space. So yeah, something like that. Something, you know, an out there wacky experience that not many people would be able to say that they experienced as well. Something unique. Or sex with a hot celebrity. Would you rather have a toe for a penis or penises for toes? I mean, it's got to be penises for toes, hasn't it? You could potentially have sex with 11 different people at once. Depending on the size of the penises, I suppose. I mean, if they're toe-sized, it's probably going to be a bit difficult. I mean, it'd be really, really sensitive every time you walk. I suppose over time, when you continuously walk on them, probably get used to it. You could probably wear some sort of guard or sheath. And yeah, you also have the potential of usage, I suppose. Whereas a toe for a penis, that's just... I don't want that. I really don't want that. I mean, I don't want the other one, really, but it's definitely the preferable option of the two. Would you get any leakage? Any juices culminating in your sock? That might not be pleasant. You know, used socks pretty bad at the best of times, but yeah, might get a lot more disgusting if your toes were penises. I'm still going to have to say that's preferable over a toe for a penis. That is my final answer. What do you want for your life in the future? If you can move on in an ideal direction from where you are now, what you are doing, and where you are in 10 years, say. What do I want for my life in the future? I suppose, simply, what I want is contentment. I want to be in a stable position, financially, in a job that I don't hate, in my own house, with a family that I love. Whether or not I think that's gonna happen is a completely different thing, but that's what I'd want. That would be ideal. If you could play one game all over again and have your memory of it completely wiped so you can experience it again, what would it be? That's a good question. Maybe Devil May Cry 5. That was an amazing game. And as a fan of the series, I really enjoyed the story of it, and I'd love to experience that again for the first time. So yeah, probably Devil May Cry 5. Or possibly Silent Hill 2. Because that game is a goddamn experience. I think that is actually something that I'd benefit more from experiencing that again for the first time than something like Devil May Cry 5, because I've played Devil May Cry 5 over and over and over again, and still, you know, it's great every time. Silent Hill 2 is still great when you keep playing it, but nothing will ever compare to the first time you experience that. So yeah, I'm going to go with Silent Hill 2 until I eventually think of something different when the camera's not fucking on. And finally, just in time, and it's not me saying that, it's in the question, and finally, which makes me think that the person who posted that question probably posted a few of the ones before. Again, not against the rules, you can send multiple questions if you want. And coincidentally enough, this is the final question of the whole video, so. And finally, do you like big booty bitches? Because I do. It's 2022, mate. You probably shouldn't be referring to women as bitches. It's not a very safe thing to do in the current social environment. I should say, do you prefer a lady with a larger derriere? But to answer your question, I am an ass man, so yeah. I like a bit of junk in the trunk. I do think that a nice ass is a very attractive feature. I don't like them to be like cartoonishly big, like, you know, a pair of fucking balloons on the back of a woman. Realistically proportioned, but perhaps a bit bigger than average, and a nice shape to them. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not the be all and end all for me if someone has a smaller than average behind, but they are still an attractive and lovely person, then sure, I will still do them. I didn't know how to phrase that, but that's how it came out. But yeah, if they do have a slightly larger than average derriere, then that is preferable. I'm not going to say that my anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun, but I will say that my anaconda is quite partial to a set of buns if you have any going. That's the drink over. That is the questions over. Let's make the video be over. So yeah, that's everything done. Answered all the questions. I hope that you enjoyed the answers I gave. To people who asked the questions, thank you very much. I really appreciate the questions that you submitted, and for being a part of this, and for making me able to make this video. The Tellonym account exists now. Please feel free to continue submitting questions, and if in the future I have enough collected up for another video, then I will make another video. What I think I'm probably going to do right now is, when this video is edited and up, I will post an actual response to the questions on Tellonym, and the response will just be the link to this video so that people can come and see their answer. That way I get to answer the questions on Tellonym without giving away the answers before the people get to see it on this, because this video is the reason I set up the Tellonym, so it seems right that you should get the answers through this video rather than just going to Tellonym and find them out and think, well, I don't need to watch the video now, he's answered my question on there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the video link as the answer, and don't mind me, I'm just indulging in a bacon sandwich. But yeah, this was fun. Hopefully you learned a bit more about me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As I say, anything you do want to know, post to Tellonym, and when I eventually get enough for another video, that'll happen. If you did like this video, then make sure to press like down below. That way I will know that you liked it. And if you didn't like it, then feel free to press dislike. I will not be offended. To be notified when more Beer Chronicle videos come out, or any of the videos that I do, then please subscribe to the channel, and to actually get notified, then make sure you ring the notification bell as well. And comment down below whether or not you prefer big booty bitches.